It's about that time where Thomas J. Bellezza takes the right mindset to you. Welcome, everyone. It's Sunday, the April 13th of the 2025, and we're here for what we do every Sunday, which is write a book from concept to completion, right? Where I write a book in real time on the screen, show you the behind the scenes, go over, explain what's happening on. That's right. Every Saturday and Sunday, we do live videos here at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturdays are videos of education, advice, and helpful little somethings. And every Sunday is we write a book. You write a book with me, okay? From concept to completion. I show the screen, everyone. I show the screen, and you get to see every little mistake, every little correction, every single thing I do to work through the process to get it where it needs to get. And as always, you can ask questions. You can ask questions about the process of what I'm doing. You could ask questions about what you're doing at home because I am a developmental editor and a writing teacher. So it's like getting free advice without having to deal with, paying people. Anyway, we're going to wait a couple minutes, not minutes, but we're going to wait a second or two for a few more people to arrive. We've already got some people in here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Oh. Ice. Yeah, I'm going to have to cool that down. All right. Or heat that up. Okay, let's start getting screens set up. Boop, 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 brr. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. What's up? All right. For anyone who doesn't know, this is the process that I am utilizing. It is my writing process. This sheet and every sheet you see on the screen is available in the free folder. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to go onto my mailing list. You don't have to do anything but go to the link, which is in the description below. It'll also be in the comments after it goes after we're finished with the live, and I'm able to put a comment in there. But you'll see it under free resources for writers, free templates. It's called free templates. Okay, it's called free templates. All right. Additionally, let's do it. So we've already done the brainstorming. We kicked butt with that, by the way. I think it only took us maybe one episode of doing it. Then we did some character arcs. That took us a little longer, because we got to create character arcs. And then we did some short form outlining, and we've been doing step 4 for anyone who's watching. Of course, there's extended outline and zero draft. As you know, the extended outline is what we are currently doing. And the reason I have zero draft is because I take this and I just move it and expand it into the chapters. It gives me a chance to look at the beats without getting too crazy and then saying, you know what, I like this. And then I get to work out the chapters and the beats and the feel and the rhythm. So it's a lot easier. That's why it's just one step. It's just, I'm sort of like isolating it and then expanding it. So where are we? We're in Act 3. Look at this. We have 9 more plot points to go. And everyone's gone. All right. Before I get into it, okay, let's do it. All right, working out the details here. Again, if you have questions about what's going on, either with what I'm doing here, if you have questions about what I'm talking about, if you have questions about how I'm moving things or organizing plot points, if you have questions about your own stuff, please feel free to let me know. It's okay. We could jibber jabber all you want. All right, let's go. We are on plot point 19. Welcome to the show. All right, let's see. The protagonist faces significant, difficult trials that is something they have never experienced before. If you've been watching the series, you know that we already have 18 plot points finished. And we're at the point where Laura and the love interest are released because they help them catch the gang members. And then they are trying to get the ship, and they find out, oh, the ship is not really here. So we get to travel to the planet. Okay. So let's do that. They travel. Okay. I'm just put them on the ship. Like, we don't need to watch them go to the thing, buy the ticket, get a multi-pass. We don't have to multi-pass it up. Though, if we did, it would be fun. It would create character moments. But we start small, and then as we work on the book and as it expands, we see where we can play with the word budget and how we can utilize it. And if our word budget is short, then we could start saying, let's add a little bit more. Let's kind of lean our elbow in and do some elbow grease and get some more expansion on maybe character moments. Maybe we could add an extra scene just for developing sort of more cohesion, stuff like that. So, hey, boop. Okay. Welcome to the show. All right. So, and remember, we always write the name out. Olivia. Just so A, it's clear who we're talking about, and B, we get used to writing the name. It sort of like puts us into that mindset. Okay. Laura, Olivia, and the love. Sit on the transporting them to planet XYZ. XYZ. Name this planet, please. Hey, what's up, bro? How's it going, my friend? Welcome to the show. Greetings, Thomas. Unfortunately, the live stream is happening at the same time that I am having to do some work. I am unable to get back in before you end today. Then I will try to do so. Hey, that'd be great. If you can or you can't, no problem. I understand work comes first. So do what you got to do. I'm just grateful that you even just stopped in to say hi. You know, I appreciate you. You know, you're a good person, and you do what you got to do. I support your life. Evening flowers, welcome. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, I will be listening though. I really appreciate that. That's look, the hours and the minutes and the time have really been adding up. I'm 100 watch hours away from the what do you call it? The 4,000 watch hours. So every little bit has been helping, and it absolutely means a lot to me. It's just adding and building to the evolution of this channel, and as we continue to grow and develop, so we'll what we can do. All right, I'm just going to add some of the beats first, and then I'm going to go back and sort of like a little play with them. What is this moment? What is this moment? All right, so I don't need this anymore. So they are dealing with significant trials. That is something they have never experienced before. All right. So just so we have an idea of where it's going, we know they are getting... Okay. All right. So... All right, so we are going to change something. So in 20, where the plot twist happens, oh wait, they are getting the ship and they fly out, and the rival gang member. Oh, that's right, because they get to the... Okay. One second. Do. Okay. 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 I got it. I'm in. All right. So, Laura, Olivia, and love interest sit on a ship transporting them to planet to get her actual ship. All right. So that's what this chapter is going to be. However, right off the bat, there's a chance it's going to be a little bit more in depth, and that's because we have to get the ship. All right. So, okay, we can do this part, but okay. This will be where they land on planet XYZ. Head to the, where is it? Deport. Impound. To the impound where Laura Olivia's ship is. Am I right? Oh, son of a. I'm sorry. We can't see Laura. Share Laura. My bad. That was on me. You know, like I like to do this so we can see the comments better. And sometimes I forget to switch it over. Flowers, what would I do without you? I appreciate it. Thank you. You are welcome. All right, let's do it. If you missed anything that I'm doing, well, it'll make sense. Okay. And then I want a third beat. They get on the ship. They get on the ship. The ship takes off. Okay, but the love interest gets the item that is hidden on the ship. Okay. I don't like that I can't do M dashes. I like my M dashes. Hidden on the ship and can sell it for a good touch of money. However, if I remember correctly, the let's go in. This I might take off. She starts writing a romance, man. Inmate. Yeah, I'm gonna probably take that stuff out. But let's see. I want. Where is the love interest? Okay. Hyperspace. I'm just looking to make sure the information is there for the love, like the purpose the love interest hid the thing, right? So okay, yeah, he does. Okay, so he has a secondary buyer. That's just making sure. I'm in my head, I know it's there, but I was just making sure that it's sort of explored. Explore. That's my OCD, everybody. All right, let's see. Love interest. Love interest. Yum, 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 yum. All right, what do we got here? All right, that's enough for me. I think that's good. Okay, so if for those just turning in, because I see that the numbers there's more viewers. If you have any questions about the process of what I'm doing while I'm working on this outline, while I'm breaking down things and doing it in real time, feel free to ask questions to clarify things. If you've ever used the 27 chapter outline, or you know it through the 27 plot point outline, which is a variation of adjustment that I made on it, please ask questions. If you have your own writing, please ask questions. I am a developmental editor and a writing teacher, so consider it like getting some free advice. And I do love asking questions. It's not going to disrupt me. I actually kind of enjoy when it goes off the rails, one might say. Okay. All right, so let's go back up here. Laura and Olivia and the love interest sit on the ship, transporting them to planet XY to get the actual ship. We learn a little about him. All right. Okay. So what are the by the way, this is supposed to be the trials. The protagonist faces significantly difficult trials. That is something they've never experienced before. Now, just for the record, it doesn't mean they have to be fighting like, the Balrog. It doesn't mean what that means. It just means that they're in a situation that isn't not necessarily something they're used to. How do we justify this moment? Well, Laura Olivia is next to the love interest. She's never maybe had a love interest. She writes romantic novel, like she wants to be a romantic novelist. She's going to get a ship. She just got out of prison, so she's dealing with a lot of the emotional values, which would be the quote unquote trials. So we sort of have to put that into context. All right, so okay. Oh, what we got here? Hey, Hannah Hart, welcome to the show. I was just going to finish watching a YouTube video on the Everseas book series that's inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean and A Court of Thorns and Roses. But I'd like to watch you as well. Well, I appreciate that, Hannah Hart. Welcome to Sunday, 2 o'clock Eastern. Oh, let me make sure the screen goes back on. All right. I really appreciate that. Thank you for that. Thank you for your time and your support. As always, it means the world to me. So, to me, this is going to play out as probably humorous because he's like, hey, if you want to talk about it. And she's like, I don't know what to talk about. What do you want me to talk about? Huh? I have nothing to talk about. And then she talks about it. But, and he's just like, you're talking about it. He says that he wasn't always criminal. After the war, life, things gets complicated as it does. Criminal is spelled not like that. I think I spelled it wrong there too. I can't spell. Spelling is without me. Oof. All right. Okay. Tell. Paid off. Let's say I don't know, but I don't know. Okay. At least you have a dream to work towards. You're running your own business until the ship repo my ship. No one is going to hire me after they find out I went to XYZ prison. Name this place. Okay. As you can see, I don't really for anyone who's like hasn't been watching this series, I don't like to get into specifics while I'm just doing outlining. So I give myself those little placeholders. name this place, name that planet, whatever. I don't even, the love interest doesn't even have a name yet. Even though I'm probably gonna call him Carl just to aggravate everyone. Everyone will be reading like, why is his name Carl? No one likes Carl. Who wants to be? Who wants to make? Who wants to make sweet love kisses to Carl? Maybe she does. Maybe Laura does. Maybe I'll get creative and call him Arl. Get that C out of there. All right. Okay. I'll just so the quick note is something in common as the ship comes into port. All right, so that's always good to do. All right, now we need the second beat. Ship where they encounter annoyance and pushback. I think there's no, I don't have it there, but they are getting the ship and so this is going to actually be placed here. And as I've said numerous times, as you can see, you're allowed to change your outline as you work on it. Like, it's not written in stone. And I know that's one of the biggest worries with writing with an outline or an outline in general is that, well, once it's written, like, I'm stuck. But in reality, you're allowed to move things around. Even just today, before I started this, I was working on book 2 of the epic fantasy outline, and I just moved basically a whole one of these to another chapter, further down. And then I took out a piece. So I took out one of these in a chapter just because, you're allowed to do that, Hey, what's up, Cook? Hi, friends, popping in to listen whilst grocery shopping. Remember, you got to get your breads, your eggs, your butters. Much appreciated. I like shopping. Let us know where you're shopping. What do you got? A path mark over there? How's that work? Hello. How are you? Welcome. Flowers saying hi. Okay. So let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And head to the impound where they encounter annoyance and push. Oh, here we go. I also like listening to the Conspiracy Files hosted by Colin. Well, he goes into the full details on what the government is hiding and won't tell us what really happens. Ooh, can't go wrong with conspiracy theories. I got lots of friends that have conspiracy theory shows too. They go off on that stuff. I have one friend who deeply believes that the Earth is flat, and as much as I love her, we do have some interesting conversations. Anyway, so they land on planet XYZ. Okay. All right. Ultimately, they get the ship after dealing with a lot of hoopla. All right. So remember, this is an outline and not necessarily me writing out a whole chapter of scenes. So this beat can take up, 500 words or 1,000 words, 2 pages, whatever. But I don't need to write it out completely. Like, I don't like even earlier, like the chase scene. Like, I don't have to worry about the complexity of that because that's where I get to play around later. Oop. What is it? I'm a boy. That's funny. That's funny. He also hosts Murder in America podcast and has a YouTube channel called The Paranormal Files. Ooh, I like both those things. Good stuff. You can't look Paranormal Files. Ooh, It reminds me of all my relationships where I've been ghosted. Just kidding. Just kidding. Or am I? Dun dun dun. Okay. So they get on the ship. They get on the ship. Oh wait. Talking and trying to get settled in. All right. Love interest thinks they see the gang leader, but it's from the corner of his eye, and he can't see or say if it was him. Okay. See, we're seeding. Boop. All right. They fly out, and the rival gang member that is trying to get the item element comes after her, and the love interest. Ooh. Boop. All right. They fly. Okay. All right. Oh, we're going to get a fourth beat in this chapter. Huh? Let's do it. Remember, I like to use these beats as either a full soft chapter break or a hard chapter break or even a new chapter in general. But in this situation, I'm just writing out the beats of the plot point. There needs to be at least 4 of them at this point for plot point 19, which could turn into 2 chapters. I mean, there's no harm in making this a short chapter. There is no harm in that. It could be a 500 or 1,000 word chapter. There's nothing wrong with that. I could have, and then maybe this would be a chapter, or as I like to kind of do is, this would be the first part of the chapter, and then this would be after a soft or hard chapter break. Okay. And the rival gang leader. Get the item element comes after her, and the love interest. All right. Boop, boop. I need my M dash. I need my M dash. And there we go. So as you can see, we took. I'll put this back over there just so it's quick reference. Okay. We took 1, 2, 3, 4 beats, okay, and we created 4 scene beats out of it. So I expanded the original beat, which is they travel to a planet that has the impounded ship, and we sort of like talk about what their conversation is, and like obviously that's going to expand when I'm working on the 0 draft. It's going to expand probably even more and be cleaned up as I write the first draft, so forth and so on. And then we took that second beat where they land on the planet. So, right? I actually added a little bit more. So I added that they landed on the planet, and we get to see them get the ship, right? So you're allowed. That's what's really nice about outlining is you're allowed to expand on ideas. You're allowed to shrink those ideas. You're allowed to add extra beats. Because remember, at the end of the day, you're in control. You're the writer. You get to make choices. If your manuscript is getting too big for you, though, or if like you feel there's too many words, you're also allowed to cut things out. Sometimes you can make sense of things. For example, instead of having this scene, right? Like, let's say I'm like, I think this would be a really nice scene, though. So I would personally keep it because anything that's character driven is something that I kind of lean into. But let's say I'm like, all right, this is just them sort of discussing their lives, and it's a slower, softer part, maybe quieter. I could take that out, and then what I could do is here I could say, they're told they're like, all right, well, let's go get a transport. Let's get on a transport and get to the planet XYZ, and then literally, this is where it would start. It would start at this plot point where they're landing on XYZ, because the transition element is let's get a transporter and get the planet XYZ. And that's ultimately it. So you can cut a lot of stuff out in that sense where you just move through moments. I like to try to do as much as I can in the outline before I really cut anything and move stuff around. And then I might even write out the full thing, and if it's 300,000 words, that's where I start saying to myself, okay, let me cut. However, while I'm working on the zero draft, I'm going to get a good indication of how big the book is going to be, what I could or could not take out. Now, obviously, if I'm working on my epic fantasy, I'm willing to let it go a little longer. Like the first book, I think, is like 230,000 words, right? And that's because there's 2 POVs and it is epic and all these other things, right? But the second book is just a little bit bigger. And the reason is because now there's 4 POVs, because 3 of the characters from the first book are in the second book, and 2 of them I give a little bit more time to. And then there's a 4th character introduced that's very important to the narrative, right? But if I'm working on a science fiction book, even though you're allowed to do a little bit more than 80,000 words, you could do 100, 120,000 words, not uncommon. You might want to write a quick sci-fi, or you might want to write a quick romance, or you might want to and you have to decide that. You have to figure that out as you're working on it. And if you end up writing a 300,000 word romance because you just were like, here's all these great things, you have to make choices as a writer, and you have to go in it and have to say, can I streamline this? Can I cut this out and seed it? And maybe by taking out the scene, I could add the sentiment or the subtext to other scenes. And that's part of the writing process, whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be. Tell me, how do you want to make things so complicated? Life seems... I'm going to put this over here so I have more room. Oh, we're on 20. We're on 20. Oh, yeah. Can you say I'm excited? I can. All right. This is where the plot twist happens. Pushing the protagonist. Okay. All right. So this is they have to get away from him. One of the main members got... Well, that I don't have to worry about. The love interest says, land the ship on a damn planet. Okay. Laura Olivia is flying her ship, trying to keep ahead of the gang member attacking them, since they can't use the hyper speed. They are forced into trying to avoid attack. She doesn't have a fighter ship. It's just a transporting ship. So they are moving and avoiding. All right. That's the first meet. Okay. Okay. And then ultimately they will crash on a close planet, because they are being chased by the gang leader, who is by themselves. All right. So why is that a short? I think that's going to be a short one. And the reason is because in reality, this will end up feeling a lot thicker. Because it is an action pack. This is going to be an action pack. But we have to say, but Thomas, there's a plot twist. Well, the plot twist is that they actually crash again onto another planet, and that they're being attacked by the gang leader, right? Okay. So what that means is, what I might do is, see, I can technically take this out of here. So this is basically what's happening, right? Okay. Boop. Here we go. All right. Okay, so that means this is gone. See, I just did it in real time. See, I tell you, you could always adjust things. Do not. Oh, I shouldn't say do not. I should say be confident in feeling safe to make changes. It's okay. There is nothing wrong with adjusting things. It does not make you a bad writer because the first thought out of your head isn't the last thought that is going to be on the page. It is a work in process. You should always be asking questions. You should always be challenging your stuff. In fact, you should have people say, this is not working and this is working. You know? I'll be honest. I really did try quitting soda. I'm going to put that out there, but I don't know what happened. Okay. So look at that. We're on 21. 20, which should be the darkest moment. Okay. It's the darkest moment. It's the darkest moment. Okay. They crash land on a planet. They will crash on a planet because, you know. All right. So I'm going to write a note here for myself. Heading into the planets. And do the crash on the in the next chapter. And what does that do, everyone? That keeps the tension up, which keeps the reader going, right? You know, it's not necessarily a quote unquote cliffhanger, but it's keeping the tension up. All right. And by the way, these notes are very helpful. I do this all the time. I'll be like, end the chapter on this phrase, or end the chapter on this act, or this this dialogue, or this act, or whatever the case may be. Right? I just did that with in the second book where the room fills up with lavender, and he says, "I've come to collect my claim." You know, like, but like the context of that is the depth of the full book, and now this moment happens, and that's all you need. You don't need to know who spoke, because you know who spoke because of the lavender, and you don't need to know who he's talking. You know, like there's a lot of really interesting values. I was going to ask about that, about what specifically, just so I know if what I answered, and then all right. Okay, another plot point. All right, let's see. The resolution bit in a chapter. Can I leave the reader hanging? I don't really want to tidy up the scene at that point. As in plot point 27? Are you talking about the literal resolution of plot point 27? The short answer is yes, because you're the writer. So however you want it, as long as there is a emotionally satisfying resolution to the narrative per se, then you can leave them on the hook. No, the setup, conflict, resolution. Oh yeah, yes. We're the real setup is well, technically, what is it? The plot point. Oh, you can't see the screen. Plot point 24 is going to be what we call the convergence and the power leading to the final battle. I'm just ending plot point 12. Oh, okay. All right. So you're and the protagonist compares their current world. You're in the old juxtaposition moment. But yeah, you're allowed to have cliffhangers everywhere. I would recommend that the final beat, the final plot point of your narrative should have a successful resolution, but you can leave cliffhangers. I mean, this will be 13. 13. Yeah. So you're building up to the midpoint conflict. Yeah, absolutely. I'm planning a bit now. For the midpoint, for the build up to the midpoint conflict, you can absolutely end on a cliffhanger, because going into the midpoint, You know what I'm saying? Like, so you could cliffhang going into the actual midpoint, whatever that ends up being. But I would say you could leave a cliffhanger on any of the plot points, any of your chapters. Just don't do it every single time and if you do, just change it up, create a variation. So maybe it's not a cliffhanger, it's a question. Maybe it's not a question, maybe it's an introduction. Things like that. Like you can. It is smart to keep the like, oh, something just happened. I want to know now, right? But at the same time, if it's always the same thing, it might not do the job. Because that's what I was thinking. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cliffhanger. All right. My mother hung me on a hook once. All right. That's an old reference to an old movie. All right. Michael Keaton's in that, by the way. Okay. And Joe Pesci. Joe Piscopo. All right. So we're definitely gonna have some beats in this. Boop, boop. All right, let's just do this. Let's go fly a kite up high in the night. Okay. All right. So here is something that is going to be interesting. All right. Now, again, I've been doing this for a while, so I know that my goal is to, make every plot point a single chapter, just as an exercise. But again, you also should be willing to break from the rules and just try to do what you got to do to make right, make sense of it. So, with that said, though, looking at this, they crash land and end up being on a hostile environment. Okay. And then they need to survive both the planet and the gang member coming after them. They are forced into a situation where they have to hide while both the gang member and creatures of the planet are there. So I would probably make this one chapter. And then I would make this another chapter, which leads them into a tight hidden spot, which will be about them dealing with the next beat. I could also make this its own chapter and then make these two a chapter. I could make this all one big chapter, but this would be a hard chapter break and this would be how it ended. So you're allowed to come up with different ideas. I don't always make 3 plot, because like if we look at plot point 20, there's only one technically, it encompasses the setup, the conflict, and the resolution. That'll come in the action beats. But again, I could technically do this. I could make this just the crashed on the planet. I can make the next beat the hostile environment. I can make the third beat, which is another hard chapter break. I can make it that they need to survive. I can make the fourth one. Like you can do whatever you want. You're allowed to control the pace. That's how you control the pacing, because it's the speed at which information is presented to the audience, the reader. So if you want to focus on the crash of the planet as a beat, because some people do that, they make a chapter just like a scene or a chapter an experience, and then that creates a rhythm. And then sometimes they let chapters breathe, and you'll have like 2 or 3 scenes in there. That's all part of the creative process that you as a writer have to think about when you're looking at your beats. So, but since my goal is to sort of, all right, Ro, be good, man. So I'm trying to make it very like straight, streamline it, where ultimately, I have the least amount of chapters as possible. I'm just doing it as an exercise, but you're allowed to do whatever you want. Do you create chapters with MC1 and MC2 having their own POV regarding the same event? I haven't done that yet, but I feel it may be useful for plot point 13. I'll tell you, the quick answer is yes, I have done that. But if you do that, make sure there is new information for the reader. So it can have set up elements of what they've already learned through one POV, but you have to include new information for the reader for it to be worth it. If it's just literally the same information, but from a new POV, that is technically a rework. You should rework that of half a chapter. What I would do, it depends on what the goal is. In the first epic fantasy book, 2/3 of the chapter is through the POV of one character, and then the last third of that chapter, it's a hard chapter break, and it starts off where like it went from all this craziness to this really calm, like somebody just sort of eating food. It's not somebody; it's a character of importance, and they then see the characters doing something, and they're like, ugh. So then they get involved to do whatever they have. I don't want to spoil anything. And they basically see some of the events that unfolded through the other character, but now it's through how they're getting there. They're hearing things that weren't necessarily heard or seen because they have a different POV. Then the next chapter, the whole next chapter, is a third POV of that same scene. But it's now we're getting new perspectives on visuals. We're getting new character interactions. We're learning new elements. And one of my close writer friends, as a part of my tight knit writing group for all this stuff, when he saw that originally, he was like, "Oh, I almost said something before I read it, but then I read it and I was like, oh, thank God, each POV is just a new experience and not just the same information." So that's important to there will be similar information, but can they assume something else is happening? Yes, because that would be the quote unquote new information. So their perspective of it is the new information. So if one person is perceiving it as they are doing something evil and about to kill someone, and then the other person's perspective is that they're about to help somebody, that would technically be new information. So that's also important. Yes, because it's their position and the perspective of that position. Correct. That anytime you're informing the audience of something, for example, somebody's drinking Pepsi and they're like, I love Pepsi. And then if the next chapter is somebody also drinking Pepsi and they hate Pepsi, that would be okay. They are technically doing the same thing, but there is new information. All right. With that said, okay, they crash land on a planet and in the beam. Okay. All right. There are creatures here that are deadly. And let's see. Realize they are in over their head. All right. The environment is hostile. Things start attacking the ship. And then notice Laura, Olivia, and the love interest. All right. The gang leader flies low and shoots at them. This causes 2 dangers. Right? What are the 2 dangers, they say? Right? The creatures and the gang leader. All right. So what did we just do? We elevated the stakes. Fabulous. Right? Anytime you get a chance to elevate stakes and elevate the tension, do it. Do it. I can feel your anger. Lord Vader. Okay. All right. My little green friend. All right, let's see. All right. Okay. They run off away from the ship to try and get everything from shooting or damaging it more. Okay. Stakes elevation, especially if you're vampy. Good move. Yes. Because you don't want it to suck, but you do want it to suck. You want the vampies to suck. All right. I love a good vampire. All I'm saying, a good vampire. Not a good, like, hey, I'm a good guy or a good girl, but I like a good vampire story. I don't care how overdone vampires are, as long as they're not sparkly. Or 1,000 years old and going, I know you're only 16, but I have been 16 for 1,000 years. I think we have something in common. Skip. Okay. That's why I like Dracula. I've traveled oceans of time, right? Because she's at least in her 20s, maybe mid-20s. And Dracula's like, I'm just saying, like, what do they have in common? I have seen the world change over 15 times. I have seen technology. I have seen things you can't imagine. Yeah, well, the other day I wasn't sure. Do I want to wear this shirt or that shirt? I just feel like my parents aren't listening to me. All right. Well, I must go. The sun. It's coming out. Yeah, the creepy pedo vampire is so overdone. So overdone. Where are you going? I thought you loved me. All right. No, I'm going to burn up. I must leave. My vampires aren't creepy, but they could be a little creepy, they're walking in the shadows, and then they reveal themselves and they're like these sexy beasts, and you're like, you almost got me. I thought you were creepy, but now I'm like, whoa, hot. One thing I do like about vampires specifically is when you don't know they are vampires, but then you realize they are vampires slowly. But then, like, let's say you are aware they are vampires, right? But they're not like they don't act like. That's why I like Preacher. The best friend in Preacher is like a great example of a well done subversion of expectations. That's like, to me. Don't get me wrong. Who doesn't like a little suge? But like at the same time, I like a little play. Well, hopefully they're a little creepy, just in a different way. That's funny. I'm up to series 5 of Brasek. He's fab in it. I definitely have to start watching that. It is on my save to watch. It is on my to watch. It's just I have so many things right now. I'm rewatching the Daredevil series because the new series came out, and I still don't want to get there. But yes, the nice kind of creepy. They're like, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing?" Like Joey from Friends is creepy, but he's endearing creepy. All right. The backpack story. That's me, the backpack story. Okay. They need to survive the planet and the gang member coming after them. The gang member lands their ship. All right. Where they have to hide. Want to kill them. 1 for food, 1 for the item. Okay. All right. See, again, I'm not going to get into the specifics. What are the creatures? What kind of creatures are they? What kind of planet are they on? But I also want the environment itself to be harsh, causing them to have to deal with a triple threat. And I don't have to come up with that stuff right now. This is just the extended outline. This is not me going through each little moment, creating beats. And I'd even almost argue that when I'm doing the zero draft, you'll see that I'm only adding more specificity, right? But I'm not getting extremely specific. I'm building on what I have and I'm just expanding the movement of it, because the purpose of the zero draft is not necessarily the fancy writing. The zero draft doesn't touch on deep immersion and stuff like that. It's just trying to make sense of the logical narrative movement of character arcs, character choices, characters' positions, characters being challenged, and plot, and some environmental details. But the goal of zero draft is just to expand these elements into a chapter to start getting an idea of where that chapter is going, if it's worth it, if I need to rework the plot a little bit. And the benefit of that is I'm not writing out 2,000 words in 3 different chapters. I'm not doing 6,000 words altogether with 3 chapters, and then I have to read 6,000 words, and I have to take notes to figure out if it's working or not. Because at the end of the day, my zero drafts goal is to help me and my alpha readers know if the plot makes sense, if the character arcs make sense, if everything has a logic to it, if there's a cause and effect. And if you could get through all the subtext elements and you could get through all, if I'm writing in the lyrical style that I write, or if I'm writing, the pretty prose, things might be lost in translation. But if I write it where it's very straightforward, even dialogue will probably be straightforward with some alteration to, because I'm learning the character personalities during the zero draft as well. It's going to allow the alpha readers to see exactly what it is on the page and to make sure that everything is connecting properly. Once that's good, then I get to kind of go in and start really working out the scenes and adding a little bit more immersion. I get to add a lot more specific elements to it. And that's where you kind of develop, because it's easier to build on a strong skeleton than it is to have to operate on a fully formed and clothed body to get at the skeleton. That is the only reason I do the process as I do, where I do a little here and then I build, do a little here and then I build. And I'm sure I've said that many times, but obviously if there's new people, it's always good to sort of be like, yo, all right, which leads them into a tight spot. Should we do a cave? I don't think we should do a cave. They fall down into a cavern area, hiding from the above threat. The weather is getting in, but not as bad, and creatures can't reach them, but are trying. All right. We don't know where the gang leader is at this point. This actually would go here as a note, because remember, it's going to be in first person. So if Laura Olivia doesn't see it, then we don't see it. Oh, I have been watching caving accidents, deaths, and yeah, not that I could do that kind of thing, but yeah, whenever I see somebody like, oh, it's 15 inches by 13, I can get in here. I got better things. I could never see myself dying in that situation. It's like people who go skydiving and then their parachutes don't go off, and you're like, oh man, what are the chances? And you're like, there's a chance. Simulate that stuff. Let me get a virtual reality and skydive that way. I know. That one guy. There's a video about this one guy who's like upside down for so long that like his head starts filling up with blood, and like he's unconscious, and then it starts filling up with water. The because it starts raining or something, and he basically drowns to death. Ugh, terrible. Yeah, Nutty Putty Cave. Right? Yeah, that's it. Nutty Putty Cave. Yeah. Yeah, no one has time for that. Yeah, John Jones, right? John Jones. I just don't understand why. And the thing, yeah, that was definitely him. Yeah, John Jones. Like, who? If you just read that once, like, why would anyone be like, I'm going to try that? John Jones did it. Why can't I do it? He's in bed and not a good way. Oh, we're an hour in. Huh? We did pretty good. Oh, look, I did 3. Hey, I feel good about that. We did 3 plot points today. We did 19, 20, and 21, which leaves us with 2 more sections, section 8 and section 9. So I think next week we'll definitely get to, hey, what is up, Angel Faye? Welcome to the show. We just did 3 plot points. I'm pretty excited about this. I think next week we will definitely get through these 3 plot points, and then maybe I'll not do them, but maybe I'll just transfer this over just so we can get it on the page. Working on my old fantasy notes. Oh, I love it. Excellent. Yes, there's nothing wrong with going back to the old notes and taking a whack at it. Trust me. Right? We are so close. We are so close to finishing the extended outline that once we get to the 0 draft, that's where it starts getting really exciting because we get to see the worlds expand, which is a series called Mystics Rest. I like it. I'm here. I caught you, Emma. Hey, Emma. What is up, Emma? Welcome to the show. You're getting us right at the end where we did hello, Angel. All right. Yeah. We just did 3 plot points. We just extended 3 plot points. Now I'm just sort of like moving information over from the old file into the new file, so I don't have to do it next time we're here. But we are going. I think we're getting through this. If I finish this book, hello, hey bro, welcome back. I'm always cooking when you're live. Just had pizza. You said the magic word, Emma. The magic word. Pizza. We love the pizza here. We love the pizza and we love the animals. Why don't I just do this? Okay. 25. 25. Annie, how are you? Welcome. Sorry, I'm Star Wars. I like Star Wars mythology and I like some Star Wars characters. I'm really a fan of the movies per se. I like some of the movies, but All right, so next time we get involved, we are going to do plot point 22, plot point 23, and plot point 24. That's the goal, and I think we might be able to do that. I'm pretty excited for that. We are just as Cook said, we are so close, and that is true. We are close. We are getting there. We are doing this. All right, since it's an hour in. We know the rules. The floor is yours. If you have questions about what we did today, how I'm outlining, why I'm outlining, my choices, etc., feel free to ask. If you have questions about your own book, your own writing process, or you're stuck with something, I am a developmental editor and a writing teacher, so it's free information. Feel free to ask. You don't even have to sign up for anything. You just need to type a few buttons to create the question in the comments, and I will happily answer it in real time. Depending on the question, I might even do a real-time example. But the whole point is this is where the community grows. This is where we work together to grow together and rise together. Anyway, so there we go. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Oh, we got one. Row. I wanted to let you know I made it into chapter 3, plot point 4 of my short form outlining, but I'm not as disciplined as you. Some of it has become extended and zero draft outline instead. There is nothing wrong with that. Again, you should be trying to find what works for you and trying new things. And as if it feels comfortable to you and it's making sense and it's helping you get the narrative out and you're not overwhelmed by it, you are doing what's right by you. So go through it. Whatever feels natural, go through it. But it's good that you're trying it. What advice would you give about using M dashes versus commas, which are appropriate when? All right. So I like M dashes when it's sort of like an extra something at the end, like there he stood on the top of the cliff, his cape floating, and the war ahead of him, M dash waiting to die, right? M dash, right? So it has a little bit of impact to it, right? It's a little sort of almost an aside, but it's still connected to it. Commas, well, it depends. Are you talking about the Oxford comma? Are you talking about the comma, which is like the creating a rhythm, like there, comma, let me take a beat, wondering, like that's a comma. Commas are appropriate when it's creating rhythm and obviously the grammatical element of it. Comma N for Oxford comma. So it really comes down to what you're trying to do with the story, because remember, what you put on the page creates the rhythm and effect of what you read. Yay, Ro! I've mixed it up too. It helped to do it like that. Yeah, absolutely. Flowers. Mixing it up because remember, on this channel, we're not here about rigid rules. We're about understanding and learning rules and then doing what we can to make sense of it for ourselves. So M for a bit of extra oomph. Yes. Yes. Now, when I do the outline here, the M dashes are all over the place because I'm not writing. What I'm doing is I'm using it as, again, an aside. They get on the ship talking and trying to get settled in. Like it's an aside, So it's not necessarily a note where it's something I need to pay attention to or it's something that I have to keep informed. It's all right. They get on the ship, but while they're doing it, they're going to be talking and trying to get settled in. Like, do not utilize my my rules for outlining for writing because they will be different rules. My approach to writing is when I'm writing long form prose and stuff like that, it's almost like a different monster because it is, right? So note taking and organizing, there's a lot more luxury to one is I whip my hair back and forth, I whip my hair back and forth, and then the other one is chisel and stone. Whip my hair back and forth is outlining. Where's it going? I'm having fun. Let's rock and roll. There's chaos. And then when I'm writing the prose, I'm chiseling it down and making art. All right. I keep getting anxious to just start writing, but I'm holding back on starting to try outlining this time instead. Pantser habit tendencies. I'll say this much. Challenge yourself as you are, because at the end of the day, after you do what you do, if you realize it's not the way for you, go do what you got to do. But it's good to try something. One of my mentors said, give every new skill or a new task 28 days in a row consistently, whether it be 15 minutes or an hour. And the reason is because if you're not comfortable with it by doing it consistently that much every single day, 15 minutes or an hour a day, by the end, you'll know if it's right for you. And whenever I learned a new skill, that's what I would do. I would just give it that much time. One extreme to the other. I was more like that when I was younger. I have found a middle ground, kind of. I like it. My next story, I am determined to hold back on the writing. Write the demid outline first. I'm excited for that because remember, I started out as the pantser as well. So outlining changed the way I look at plot. Outline, because remember, story is how the plot unfolds through the emotional experiences and choices of your character. So when outlining came, it made me really look at the logistics of character choices, the logistics of movement to the narrative, and it allowed me to dissect my plot in a way that I don't think I ever had an opportunity to do so while writing. Because when you're writing, you're thinking of what words to use, you're thinking of what to say, how to say it, you're thinking of movement, you're thinking of where's this going to go next. There's too much thought involved. So as somebody who was filled with mental issues, I just was like, let me, obviously, like, as you know, I was hired. People asked me for outlines. I thought it was crazy, but they wanted to see where it was going before I put in a lot of time, because you get paid good money to write screenplays and stuff like that. So I realized through that process, wow, I've taken everything out. Like all the distractions of writing are gone, and now I can focus on what is happening, right? Because remember, one of the things I look for as a developmental editor is things are happening, but nothing is happening. And the outline is things happening. We get to just see the things happen. And then when we write the story, when we get to start writing the prose, that's where we see things actually happening. We see them unfolding. And as you will notice when I get into it, the story part is where we get to challenge the plot. They go in the store, but how do they get into the store? What keeps them from getting into the store, right? They do have to get to the store. They do have to finish the scene, but do they meet somebody? So you get to really play with it. Because the outline is a step away from it in a way. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's just one quick step. Writing through the microscope. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think at least the feedback I've been getting with the evolution of my writing has, well, I'll put it this way. Again, I had a career in screenwriting. So one of my close buddies who I also mentored and, whatever, he's like a brother to me. I asked him if he'd read my novel. And I says, look, I'm going to give you the zero drafts, though. They're beat it out, and there's, it's not a lot of immersion, whatever. And he was like, all right, I'll read it. But he was like hesitant, And then maybe after chapter 7 or 8, he was like, I just want you to know, I was expecting the worst possible experience in my life to read a novel from you, because you're a screenwriter and it's a completely different medium. And he goes, I've been enjoying this. And I was like, oh, great. How would you feel about reading what I've written? Because, I've taken the notes and I already started writing out the first draft. And he's like, oh, yeah. I sent it to him. He's like, bro, you need to do this. And I was like, okay. And that's what I needed. I needed to know that it was a different medium, basically, and that my approach was working, that I wasn't jumping into writing. I was jumping into making sure the characters were real. And if the zero draft, and as you will see, the zero draft is sloppy looking once I get to it. If the zero draft was connecting to my readers, my alpha readers, and they were seeing the depth of the characters and they were making sense of the movements, once I prettied it up and added all the immersion and the prose, it's just an extra bonus. And it really worked out. Outlining, standing in the corner of the room. Yeah, basically. Yes. Thomas sat at his microphone and explained the process of outlining. And occasionally he drinks some Diet Cherry Pepsi. Or Diet Wild Cherry Pepsi. Outlining. And I think writers, if they realize that that's all outlining is, I mean, if you just put it flat in your layman's term, outlining is just saying, Thomas, Sarah met Chris. That is plot, right? All right. Well, I want to get a little bit more detailed. All right. Sarah met Chris in a deli. All right. Sarah met Chris in a deli. Chris's family owns a deli, and Sarah has been coming to this deli since she was a child. Plot, 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 plot. None of that is story. Plot, 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 plot. Then it's their meet cute is Sarah walks into the deli and sees Chris online, and he's really attractive, so she tries to avoid it, and she goes over to the magazines. That's still plot technically, because there's no movement really through the character. But as you can see, I took one thing and I started building on it. And as anyone knows, I think I worked on that in real time like 2 weeks ago. I still remember the scene. That's why I'm using it as an example. But that's what it is. It's Sarah meets Chris. All right. Well, where did they meet? They meet in a deli. Sarah meets Chris in a deli. All right. Let me ask another question because I'm a writer. All right. Well, what's the connection? You know what? Sarah has been coming here since she was a kid, and Chris's family owns a deli. Great. Chris is online. Oh, that'd be interesting that he's online. All right. So that's what outlining is. You just create a beat, a moment, an idea, and then you ask some questions, and then you can build on it or challenge it. And then as you do what you do, you do what you do. I don't know. Just saying. What is it? 3:00 already? Not bad. We did good today. Uh-oh. I got some messages. But if anyone has any questions about writing, please, I am happy to answer your questions. But more importantly, I'm just grateful you're here. And if you just want to hang out and hear me talk, I don't mind. I don't got anything to do today. It's Sunday. What do we got? You've answered my quota for the day. Grazie mille. Prego. Let's see. Oh, Rose says, it helps when I don't rabbit tail you off about music. It happens, though, because I am a lover of the music. I am the lover of music. There are other people, though, watching. So if anyone's out there, and look, there's no judgment on this channel. We support and elevate, and it's community-based. So if you have a question, we're not going to judge you. There are no stupid questions. None. They're all, you could only know if you ask. I have made a document where I type my questions as they pop up over the week. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Yes. Keep me on my toes. Because, one day this channel is going to hopefully continue to grow, right? So it's going to have more people during live. And I just want you to know, Flowers, every time I see your name, I will give you priority. I'll be like, boom, Flowers. Let me answer her question. She wrote them down during the week. You live on my laptop. Well, it's warm there. I'm like a cat, I'm going to stay where it's warm. I just cuddle up. I'm just like, look at this laptop. Yeah. Oh, maybe let's talk about something I'm thankful for because of all of you, every single one of you who continues not only to watch, because based on what you're saying, Flowers, not only because you watch the episodes, but you continue to watch them even when they're not live. This is how good we're doing this week. And these are my numbers up to this point. And I just want you to know it means so much to me. And I want you to feel like you're a part of this journey because you are. Because without you, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. What am I doing? I'm just sitting here talking to the mic. Hello, microphone. like you will have to jostle Morticia. Oh yeah, woo! As she's always changing the screen resolution. Is that funny when they just walk across? So this year alone, since January 1st to April 12th, I know it's the 13th right now, but it's only to the 12th. 11,000 views, 1.5 thousand watch hours. So 1,500 watch hours. We got 234 subscribers. I'm so happy about that. And in the last 48 hours, we have 446 views. Right now, the subscriber count is at 1,984. We are getting there. We are so close. As far as the last 365 days, we're at 3,950 watch hours. Wow. I only need 50 more. That went up since yesterday. Wow. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody. Just the love. I know Ro has been watching and commenting on it. I know that Flowers has been watching consistently and just really just giving me their time and their watch hours and their love. And without you, I'm not placebo. That's fine. I almost started singing it. But yeah, that was you. You were very much part of that, and your comments and you letting it play, and you watching, and you just partake in the ever growing magic of this channel. And I know Ro is really in it, and everyone else that's really been doing what they do. It just motivates me to keep going because I love teaching, and I did this channel when there was like nothing, when there's nobody. I was making 20 views a day, if that, it was maybe an hour a week. And I still did it because I'm a teacher by trade, in the sense of teaching and consulting and helping people. And I miss teaching at my theater, so I was like, let me really get into this. My dad, I was taking care of him, all these things. So it's beautiful that I get to continue to do this. Oh, thanks, Cook. Yeah, it is exciting, right? And I appreciate it. Yes, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Content is gold. Excellent. No, really, you humble me with your kindness. But no, really, I'm really excited. I'm excited that we're going where we're going, and we're only going to continue going up. We're going to continue going up. And I really, I try to make my channel different by making it more like practical, like educational, in the sense of like I'm teaching. And no knocking the other creators out there where they're just like, here are 5 things you need to do for your characters. Like, there's nothing wrong with that content either. Sometimes you just need information, just get in and get out. But I'm a learner through practical. I'm a learner through doing. I'm a learner of seeing people do something. So I was like, I don't see a lot of that on YouTube. So I think I'm going to make my channel. I'm going to dedicate my channel to that reality. And I think it ended up working. And I'm just grateful that I'm actually, connecting with people with that, Do. All right. We give ourselves 9 more minutes of fun time, and then we'll call it a day. We'll what do you think? 3:30 my time? Yeah, 9 more minutes. 9 more minutes. We agree. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's because I don't get me wrong, like I'll watch those videos too, and just to see like what people are talking about. And again, one of the rules I was always taught by my mentors is always be learning. Always, just because doesn't mean you still know, because it's always evolving. There's always rotations of information. There's always growth to systems. It's just an ever growing system. And I just watch, and I feel like I'm not necessarily learning anything, but I'm being informed. And then being informed is good too, because then I have to go do my research. I gotta, because knowing something and understanding something are not the same thing. Knowing something is, eating up the information. Somebody's telling you the information. You're learning something. But understanding it is doing the research. Understanding it is trying it, breaking it, like one of the role-playing games that friends and I are working on to like basically create, which is based off the epic fantasy, because everything, I'm trying to build an empire. The whole point is like, here's the rules. All right, let's break it. And that's how education should be. That's how writing should be. That's how any creative endeavor is. I learned these rules. All right, how do I break them? How do I do it wrong using what's right? It's like when I read a book, like especially like a Brandon Sanderson or Martin or whatever, or Roberts, you're reading and you're like, don't they say not to do this? They use, they're using the word but a lot. They use, saw, they use heard. My favorite is when I see M dashes and everyone's like, you can't use M dashes. It's a sign that AI is writing your stuff, and B, they're stupid. Don't use them. It's a sure sign you don't know how to write. All right, like that's what I hear. Like, and then I'm like, I don't know if that's true, because all these other writers, successful writers, talented writers, are using M dashes. Or don't just use he said, she said. But then you see really great writers using, but it comes down to using it purposefully. It comes down to not overusing it. ING verbs, don't use them. But if you use them purposefully and sparingly, just like any rule, like you can, if you hold your breath too long, You could drown if you're underwater, right? But you can go underwater, but then come up. Unless, of course, in Ohio, I was telling. This is a funny story. I was maybe like a year ago. I went into the emergency room because it was, my chest was feeling what it was feeling, and I would stop breathing, and then I would stop breathing again. So I told the emergency doctor, I go, listen, I'm having moments where I can't like my breathing stops and I can't get anything in, and it's like I'm holding my breath, I can't breathe. And he goes, that's not true. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, if you can't breathe, you die. And I go, well, what happens for swimmers when they go on the water? That they die instantly, or like, is there like, I don't know, a time? He goes, what are you talking about? I go, you just said if I stop breathing, I die. But I think what you're trying to say is if I stop breathing for a extended period of time and I don't get oxygen into my body, I will die. But you don't die from not breathing. I was like, I think I have to leave this emergency room. At the end of your videos, it would be cool if you gave an assignment, like not necessary, but just something if people want to try it out. I could start doing that. Obviously, the videos that are already recorded for the rest of this year are already done, but I'll do that for 2026 videos once I start recording those. I do know that at the end, sometimes I ask questions, sometimes I ask for examples, but yes, I enjoyed yesterday's. Yeah, I could do that. That's a fun idea, Ro. Yeah, excellent idea. I will start popping that into to my videos. Helpful practice for newbies like myself. Yeah. Hey, if it helps, it helps. As far as today, if you want a little assignment, you've all been doing it. You're all outlining. You're all trying the outline. I would say the real assignment is stay consistent for 28 days. That's the real assignment. If you could stick with it for 28 days and not adjust or manipulate it to see if you can stick to it and see if it does work or if it does help you in a different way. That's what I would say, because that's what we were talking about earlier. I think that might be an interesting assignment. What else? Anything else? What do we got? Oh, as you all know, I have the that's trying to get to PP5 and then start writing. Oh, all right. Flowers, if I may, try to get through the entire Act 1. So finish plot point 9 and then write Act 1. I think that would be a better starting point as far as the writing goes, because at least you could set the tone of the book and really establish what you can play with in Act 2. So as long as you have the whole first act done, it'll give you a little bit more room. But that's just my suggestion. You don't have to do that. Consistency. Yes. Hello, haven't watched yesterday's bronchitis. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Cindy. I'm sending you love and health and energy, and please, orange juice if you can. We'll drink your liquids and waters and see what happens. Because I have trouble seeing that far ahead. That's why I wear glasses. No, I'm just kidding. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. That's also why if we look at what do we call it? Is this it? Oh, this is a long phone. That's why it's not here. I don't have the thing. Where am I? I'm at the point where I need 3 sets of glasses: a pair to find my glasses, a pair to read, and a pair to see. Same. I got my glasses. All right. Drinking lots, too bad, not alcohol. Yeah, alcohol really does fix everything. If you could get some no, I'm not a doctor. When it comes to, by the way, going back to trouble seeing that far ahead, that's why I like the one line or the 1, 2, 3 lines, just the paragraph for each plot point really helps, because it helps you look at the core movement of the narrative, of the plot, I should say, and not necessarily the bigger, like adding all the subplot stuff, adding all the, really strong smaller details. Like it stays away from that and it just goes, what is this plot point about? Like, how do we move this character ahead? Before we get to going, I just want you to know this book, as you know, I'm really excited that I finished it. I'm working on the audiobook version of it right now, so that's been a lot of fun. But this book, I'm going to try to have it officially released next month. The release date for anyone listening or anyone who cares, I'm going to try to get it out either on the 20th of May or the 29th of May. That's really the goal. See, I got my little face there. Make things happen by making things happen. Anyway, so it'll be there. It's nonfiction, so it's self-help, and it is what it is. I set my plot points to receipt cards so I can move. Oh, I love that. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to use index cards all the time. Yay, right? Yeah, I'm excited. Right? See this thing coming out. Are you narrating it yourself? I am. I am using my narrator's voice. Can you hear me today on the radio? Now, I'm talking with a play. I'm doing voices and I'm just having fun with it. There may or may not be additional stuff on the audio that might not be in the book just because of my ridiculousness. Thank you, Cindy. Oh, really? Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm super serious about getting a signed copy of your book. Honestly, I think the best way I could do that is because I'm definitely going to order. I'm going to order copies for myself, obviously, so because there are people around. So I could always sign a copy, and then, if you feel comfortable giving me your address, we could just do it, over Venmo or something, and I could just mail it to you. I have no problem doing that as long as you're comfortable with it, obviously. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I love doing voices too, so, like, because there's a lot of but Thomas, like, because I have like a character as if I'm talking to somebody. So like when I normally would get asked questions when I would consult people, I have those questions in there, but so I'm like, but Thomas, yeah. Will there be a signing? That's a good question. I'm going to talk to the local library over here who has me teaching. They're going to have me teach during the summer too. I'm going to go because I did the class originally, and then they actually asked me to come back and as a guest to do 8 weeks. So I'm going to see if maybe they want to do it because they're opening up a new location. So the signing might happen obviously after I release the book, but it might be nice to sort of build some more rapport with the community doing that, where the books are available and stuff like that. Also, maybe do a Q&A there or something. I don't know. I don't usually enjoy narrated, but I think yours with voices will be fun. Yeah. I it's even like if I have my epic fantasy book done, I want it to be where like there's acting. Like I want different actors to come in and do the voices for different, like, so it sounds like a play almost, whatever the case may be. I like that kind of narration. I just don't. It's always weird, like if a guy is narrating, but they're doing girl voices, so they just do this, and then if there's a girl doing guy voices, they just do this. I like to have a texture for different characters. I think the theatrical elements on it. Are you singing songs? Probably not in the book. I might sing pieces, but not necessarily songs. I might be like, you gotta make things happen to make things happen, whatever it is, bring reality to your dreams. Yeah. I might do that. I've already done the first couple chapters, but I do I do have like a sides where I'm just like, I'll say something, then I'll be like, yeah, what do I know? It's just fun. It's just fun stuff. It's all fun. It's all fun and games until you lose an eye. Until you shoot your eye out, kid. What are we doing? All right. Where we at? Okay. Bloop. Did you indie publish, traditional, or hybrid? I went self-publishing, and I'll tell you why. If anyone cares, I'll tell you why. All right. So I'm a businessman. I've owned my businesses. Okay, I've owned theaters, I've BBR Productions, I've owned a production company, a consulting company, right? All these companies. And in the music industry, this is the short version. In the music industry, one of my mentors was a president of a record label. And the first thing he told me is music has nothing to do with the music industry. It is a business, right? And he goes, if you want to be artistic, you can, but create a career in the industry first and then allow yourself to do music. Because if you're trying to make money with your music, you will fail no matter what. Just like if you're trying to make money with writing a single book as a first time author, if it's just about the book, if it's just about the music, if it's an actor, it's just about this indie film I did in college. If it's just about going on stage and telling jokes, right? And like, oh, that's going to be my big break. They're going to hear me tell a joke, whatever. It's going. That doesn't affect the industry. So I started thinking, even back then, like when I was younger, I started thinking about that and what that meant and how I could utilize that to change the way I approach the business. And I created a career in music by doing what I did. And then when I got into acting and comedy and producing and writing more fluently and screenplays and stuff like that, I don't know what's going on with my screen. I uh I approached it like a business. So to answer your question, I'm going indie. And the reason is because I can control the movement of the product and the brand of the product. And, Brandon Sanders actually was being interviewed recently, and he was talking about how, like, um, he was fighting with his publisher because this is back in the day. They released a book, and the cover was just terrible. And he got to kind of okay the cover, but ultimately the publisher, was like, "This is the cover," and he was like, "All right." And it didn't sell. Like the book wasn't doing good. And he was like, change the cover. And they wouldn't change the cover. And he's like, please change the cover. And they're like, it's not selling. We're not going to put that kind of money into it. And he goes, please, for the love of God. So his agent was fighting for him. They changed the color, became a bestseller, or at least for him. It was on the list, but and it changed everything. And then he realized, they're not going to listen to me. So he started doing more and more variations of that, from special edition books that he would create. And that ended up being, that led to one of his earlier Kickstarters. So being a business, for me, I know how to do that. But putting it in the hands of a record label or a publisher or whatever, I don't know how to really enjoy that. I don't know how to make money with that because it creates a limitation, for me. Not everyone, other people know how to do it. But even Brandon Sanderson, again, I'm not saying, it's just a model of an idea. Even Brandon Sanderson stepping away from the publishing industry and going self-published. He's doing the Kickstarters more. He's creating his own industry. Dragon Con, he's doing what he's doing. And that is like how my mind worked with music, writing, comedy, all that stuff. I created these businesses, and I think it's just easier for me to go indie. However, uh, to add to this, I do have friends that are like names, and they didn't want to be writers, and publishers came to them and said, "We will give you." One guy got $300,000. They were like, "We will give you $300,000 to write a book because of your brand and the thing you do, and we just want you to write a book on that subject." And he was like, "I can't write. I don't want to write. I'm not interested in this." And like, but we have a check. We know we can make money off of it. So he's like, "Can I hire a ghostwriter? I'll dictate it into a recorder, and then they just write it." And they were like, "Absolutely." And he was like, "Okay." Wrote the book. It's been out for whatever 10, 15 years. he barely makes money, but he still sees residuals. But at the same time, if somebody came and was like, "Look, you're already doing successful. You're doing what you have this thing. We'd like, now you have control over the deal, though. You could put it into your favor." So become some sort of editor, then write, because I'm thinking of taking some editing classes and helping people edit. I'm not saying do that, but that is a good idea. That is, you're creating a business. You are writing within your field of interest. editing is a form of writing. It's an adjacent. So, I'm a developmental editor, right? But I'm also a consultant. I'm also a writing teacher, right? And I do all these things, and I get to choose who I want to work with. I don't need the work because I created my assets to afford my life, so I can say no to jobs. And that's also why my prices are so low, because I don't need the money, but I feel, even from my growing up, if I don't pay for something, I feel like there's no value to it. So even if I'm playing, whatever it is, $50 and whatever, I feel like I'm getting something out of it. And it makes me say, why pay for this? Let me put time into it, sort of thing. But yeah, that's a good idea, because it also shows your expertise. And if you're good at something, then it should connect to what it is you do. A cover can make or break a book. Oh, absolutely, Cindy. I'm so happy I did this cover and it worked out. And I sent it to friends and I made sure, every step of the way. It took a minute or two to get here, but imagine it was this cover. Like, I look at this cover and everybody has been talking about this cover in my circles, and imagine I just was like, breaking down success, the foundation for longevity, and it's just me on the cover like this. Like, no one would buy that. So yeah, covers are so important. I look forward to Saturday and Sunday to hang out here and learn some stuff to get better at writing. I appreciate that. And I want to be a part of your journey. I am grateful to have that kind of honor and to get your time to be there to watch you elevate and grow. I know you will, bro. You lose control, like Julia Quinn's Bridgerton, where the characters on TV are way well. All right, so because I have been in both industries, let's use Game of Thrones. No spoilers, really, but so there's a scene in the book, in the first season of Game of Thrones. Eddard Stark and Jaime Lannister end up fighting in the street, and Eddard Stark gets stabbed with a spear through the back of his leg, and then Jaime was going to kill him, but now that he's weak, he's like, I'm not going to fight him. In the book, that happens at night, not day. It is a huge rainstorm, not dry, and there are a bunch of horses running around because the battles on horses, and there's a bunch of soldiers. The budget dictated that can't happen. So the emotional truth of that scene played out. Like, all the plot elements and all the character truths played out. They just had to change the reality of it, the logistics of it. So sometimes you have to change what's going on from the books to the story. However, I will say this much, especially for Bridgerton and Game of Thrones. When you sell it to a show, you're selling the licensing rights for them to make that show. So the head writers of Game of Thrones or the head writers of Bridgerton, they bought the licensing rights to make the show. And then that gave them they could listen to R.R. Martin, and they did listen to him for the most part, but they ultimately, some of the best scenes that were written were actually through their own dialogue. They created strong dialogue. So you can, as a writer, though, say, I will sell you these licensing rights for less money as long as I have final say and creative control, or put me on as an executive producer. And I just want to be able to hone it. However, if you do that, you won't have a long career if you're not willing to compromise or listen or understand the logistics. Like, if you have a huge battle scene in a book and your first year budget can't afford the massive scene, you have to be willing to say, well, how do we keep the integrity of this and shrink it down? How do we keep that integrity? Because then other studios will work with you. They'll be like, yes, you can have your strong. One of my first projects I ever worked on, the producers literally sat down with me and they, look, we're going to attach head writer to this project because you're new. This is way back. And, a lot of the stuff you're working on, we believe in your project, but there's no, we need proof that things are going to work out. So the deal was, you have somebody watching you on this project. If it does well, the next project, less watching and less watching, and eventually you are not being watched, and they give you the freedom to do what Louis C.K. did. Louis C.K. for his show, Louis, he sat down and he says, "I don't want to do a television show," but the studio was like, "We want you to do what ended up being FX Louis." They were like, "We want you though." This is before all the controversy and everything. He was huge at some point, and he's like, "Look, I'll only do it if I don't get notes and I could be left alone." And they're like, "Well, the only way we could do that is if we give you a budget of $250,000 an episode. That's the most we could give you where we don't have to pay attention to you." And he says, "Fine." And the way he got around it was he directed, wrote, and starred in it. So he was allowed to work out with the unions a reduced rate, because the unions will really attack you with these things if you don't get paid your union rates or whatever. And directors and writers get paid good money. And of course, the producers and the actors, everybody. So he worked out a deal where he was able to do a reduced rate because he's doing the three things. Point is, the show did really well, and they were able to give him more money and still not bother him. The show did even better. They gave him more money and didn't bother him. So you sort of have to earn yourself to be in this situation with Bridgerton, but it's a different medium and there are different logistical things involved in that. So it isn't just that they lost control per se, it's that they sold them the rights. And this is what I learned in the industry. I have the book exists. In fact, I have a version of the book that isn't necessarily adjusted. Draft prime. So it exists. If I want the purest version of the material that exists, it does. But if it's turned into a movie, how do you turn, let's say an 80,000 word book, like something like The Time Traveler's Wife? How do you turn that into 90 minutes? It's 90 pages. You're taking probably a 350 page book and you got to turn it into 90 pages. You got to make compromises because of the medium and the logistics of it. So, but you can get to the point where you have control. It's but it is a different world. It is a different world. Thank you for clarifying that, given that probably why I don't read and watch movie except Harry Potter. Well, yeah, I mean, even Harry Potter, they How are you making your RPG? Is it tabletop or a video game? Oh. I could tell you that. Give me a second. I just got to respond to. Okay. All right. So the way we're doing, it's going to be a tabletop. It's going to be it's not Dungeons and Dragons, but as a foundation for you to understand the visual of it, it's Dungeons and Dragons. But the difference is dice aren't imperative a part. They are a mechanic of the system, but it is based on what you do elevates your stats. So it's not really necessarily about experiences. And then the fighter goes up like this. It's like if I negotiate, there's a mechanic that is formed and I get better at negotiating. So the more I do it and the more successful I am at it, the quicker it goes up. If I ride horses and I do stunts or fight from the riding of horses, horse riding goes up. So if I fight with my sword, my long sword, that mechanic goes up. So you're in control of developing your character based on what you do, what gives you more agency, because the whole point of the role-playing game is where the story is as important as the quote-unquote action. So it's creating, if I do more, if I role-play more, if I take action, if I have agency, I will be rewarded for that, instead of let's fight a horde of goblins and at the end we divvy up the experience points no matter if I sat there or didn't sit there. So the system is to create agency. It's going to be a tabletop, and hopefully it's going to be interesting. Yeah, so that's really it. So how are you making it? We are basically talking it out, writing out the mechanics, working out the mechanics, doing a lot of playing. Because you have to break the mechanics. You have to, how do I break this? And then ultimately it'll be a book. You buy the book will explain the rules. There'll be character sheets. I'd like to get a an app made for it. So the character sheets and the formulas, all the upkeep, like the mechanics element of it, are you could do it on the iPad or your phone or a computer. I'm trying to get that done, but we got to wait until we finalize all the mechanics to even think about that. I asked because I've used programs like RPG Maker for a while. Was curious if you were using that approach. I am not using that approach. I didn't even know RPG Maker existed. What is that? RPG Maker. Oh, look at that. Oh, this looks like a venture construction set from Commodore 60. Oh, wow. I just gave away my age. Commodore 64, everyone. I had the Commodore 128. I had Pong. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is, I see. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, no, I'm making my own mechanics. We're making our own, everything in it. This is cool, though. It's like Minecraft, but for people who love, that's pretty interesting. Smile. All right. Oh, wow. 2 hours in. It's almost 4 o'clock. All right. I got stuff I got to do. If you're new here and you haven't really seen it, by the way, makearightlefthear.com. That's the website where I exist and all my life exists there. Age is a state of mind, and today I'm 102. My back and body tell me I'm almost 102. Remember to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out if you've been watching and you're one of the 7 people watching currently live and you're like, I really like this guy's energy. I think I'm gonna hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so I don't miss out. That'd be really great. Let's see, anything else? Oh yeah, I gotta yeah, what's next week? Oh, next week. All right. Next week I won't be here. I am doing something I don't really do. I'm going on vacation. I don't really. I'm always available, but I decided to take next weekend off, and I'm gonna go to New York, and I'm gonna go to my old stomping ground. I'm gonna get some pizza. Oh, I need some pizza. I'm gonna get some pizza. I'm gonna see some friends. So next Saturday and Sunday, I won't be around. Love these. First set that resonated with me. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh. Whew. So next Saturday and Sunday, there will be no live. Because I won't be here. Could I tell you about my plot of my story? You absolutely can, Hannah. I'm gonna be jumping off soon, but you can leave all that information in the comments below of the video, and I'll respond to it. I'll definitely add some stuff. I'm just sort of kind of giving the closing statements for today for anybody. I know everybody supports me and they're always here, but next week again, Saturday and Sunday, I will not be here live. I will be on the vacation. The following week, I will be back. So I will be back on the 26th and 27th. Woo! Understood. What is it, Hannah? Yeah, Hannah, just let it out. Just tell it out. Just tell it out. We could always see it. What else? Oh, yeah. So, with that said, what is going on next week for you? Yeah, so next week, according to my schedule, videos. Next week, the video, consistent tone. Maintain a consistent tone throughout your novel to ensure a cohesive reading experience. That will be coming out on Wednesday. Then Friday will be a writing exercise. Oh, right. We have bringing back the writing exercise videos. So descriptive writing exercises. This video will help authors improve their descriptive writing skills by focusing on using sensory details to create vivid and immersive settings. The exercise will involve describing a specific location using all 5 senses. So that should be a lot of fun. Have a fab time face planting a pizza. Oh, I will. I will be eating that up. And like I said, next Saturday, Sunday, I won't be around. But when I come back the following weekend, On that Saturday, I will be doing a video about dialogue. There is dialogue, and then there is dialogue. We will examine dialogue and also write dialogue. And of course, we're going to continue writing the book. Writing the book. What we got? When an ancient curse known as the Sundering Curse is reawakened by twin fallen queens known as Driviana and Ecliptura. 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 They curse 3 newborn baby sisters who were just born to the realm of Lysaria. Yes, hurry up. I want to read. Oh, yes. Wait, hurry up and read. You want to read the book? Did you? Or you want that sounds good, Hannah. It's my Sleeping Beauty retelling along with the Yu Yu Harushio, Hakusho, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Kingdom Hearts retelling. Yeah, you were talking about that last week. I think that's going to be really fun. I actually can't wait till you get some of that stuff written out. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that. We'll be supporting you all the way. All right. My chest. Okay, well, you know what that means. It's time to go, everyone. Hannah Hart, thank you so much for telling us about your story. I think that's going to be really exciting. Please keep us informed. Keep me informed. I want to hear about it. I want to hear about the developments. Cindy, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us and contributing as you always do. Cook, always a pleasure. Cook, always a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Flowers, absolutely. Much love. And I know your stuff is coming out soon for that the companion of working with other authors. I saw that on your Facebook. I am excited for that. And of course, Ro, if you're still here, I know you've been on and off. Much love, appreciate it. If I missed anyone, please know that I appreciate it. All right, so here we go. The collab. Yeah, the collab. I can't wait for the collab to come out. You have to let me know about that. I definitely want to take a look, see, because I'm interested in seeing the different feels and tones and genre styles going on it. So have a great time on vacation. Thank you, Ro. Flowers, what's your website? Yeah, Flowers, pop it up there. What's your website? Thanks, Thomas and friends. Another great Sunday. Oh, yeah. We kicked some butt today. Oh, there we go. I fixed it. What was going on with that? My screen was weird. Yes, it was an excellent Sunday. Yeah, Flowers, if you have a website, please pop it into the... I think you do have a website, but I don't know it offhand. I don't know it offhand. Oh, I don't have one. Yes, but she does have an Amazon, which is, I believe, in the description of this video. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, why are you not in there? I'm gonna have to put you in the description. I will put a link to her stuff in the fellow authors. By the way, if anyone here as a fellow author has a website and you want me to put it into the description of the videos, just send it to me. Either put it in a comment, or if you have my email, or you can go to my website, obviously, and email me through there. I'll put it on there. L Flowers, I will definitely do that. Yeah, Cindy, you got to send it to me. All right, you got to send it to me. But with that said, Flowers has social media. It's all L Flowers stuff. So she has definitely follow her. She posts some great stuff about her book. It's all about supporting and celebrating one another. Yeah. No problem. I honestly thought it was on there already, but apparently it's not. I do know. It's already been finalized, but where is it? Can you see it? See? Lenny Flowers. Boom. There's a link in there. Because I love you. Because you support me. There's a bunch of authors in there, right? That's what I do. I believe in it and I live it. I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk. So, all right. I guess that's it. I guess we've hit the end of the road. Absolutely, right? Look, these aren't just words. All right. We got to work real rise together. Plus, you don't make fun of my singing, and I think that's always a plus. Anyway, let's do it. Let's call it a day. It has been 2 hours of fun and excitement. I will see you in 2 weeks, but obviously I will see you on Wednesday and Friday if you want to sit by and watch the premieres of the videos. I'm always around talking on them. But as always, much love. And you gotta keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.